Hey, what's going on, everybody? Happy Saturday to you. I'm going to start off asking, how's this mic sound? Sound okay? I've been dialing it in, trying to figure out all that good stuff. What's going on, Josh? Good to see you, my friend. Ned Kelly, how are you? Jeremiah showed up early. Good to see you guys. I appreciate you being here on a Saturday. Good seeing you. Obviously, we start off every Saturday asking where everybody's watching from, because for one, it helps me curate my content, figure out how I can best serve you guys. Are you guys living in the UK, which a lot of you are? You guys local down here, right? So how are we going to best serve you guys to make sure that we're putting out a good show every other Saturday, as well as some other exciting stuff I'm excited to talk to you about. So what's going on with you guys? What's up, Chad? Good to see you. Aloha. Do we have somebody from Hawaii? That's amazing. Brentwood, California. Good to see you. London, England. Of course, Mr. Ned Kelly. Good to see you. So I'm going to get into a few things today. One, we're going to talk about unemployment in Orlando in general. I went to our local or our nationwide thing this week for Keller Williams. They started getting into their economists coming on stage, talking about affordability versus unemployment. What does that mean to us in Orlando? How are things going here locally? How does that affect us locally? Our real estate market, or if you live here, you're thinking about moving here, all of that good stuff. I've got some news on the Disney campus, some 55 and older stuff, whether you're 55 and older or not. It's really quite interesting. And yeah, some other cool stuff. So I appreciate you guys hanging out with me, guys. What's going on? Bill from New Jersey /Celebration. I do appreciate that. I also, on the thumbnail, I said, hey, I've got questions. I'm going to do a new segment with you guys today because I have a bunch of questions based on you guys. And I think it's kind of cool because we have, eventually there'll be, over 100 people watching live. It'll be cool to kind of source some information based on your guys, your what you think, what questions you have that you've submitted, but also like what you think about real estate, your tastes, and we'll just kind of do this big, like, what do they call it? I don't know, where you guys do research. It'll be fun. I think it's exciting. So anyways, Pembroke Pines, Florida. Good to see you. Robert from Dallas. Thanks for checking in. Melissa from Indiana. Hey, thanks for hanging out. Let's see. Vicky Piper from Orlando. Hey. I appreciate it. So let's get into this. First and foremost, it's kind of a little self-serving, I guess I'll tell you guys. But so we've talked about this before in the past. We're launching a new website, the Orlando Reel. We've already been doing the newsletter for the past 3 weeks, and I think it's going really well. I think we've got something around 11,000 people signed up now. And it's basically real estate, Orlando, theme parks, all in one. And so if you go to the Orlando Reel, and you want to sign up, it's completely free of charge. We'll never charge you for anything, but basically putting out content. We've hired writers, bloggers talking about theme parks specifically, but then also doing a lot of what I do every other Saturday. And so if you like this show, it's something that you enjoy, we're putting that into newsletter form and also launching this website. And so creating a media company that does a lot of the same stuff that I do every other Saturday, but on a much bigger scale. Again, I still sell real estate. That's my main job. We're doing this more of a community service to continue to grow our audience. And the feedback that you guys have given me over the past year that I've been doing this has been fantastic. And so I know a lot of folks are like, we don't need another theme park blog. I probably agree for the most part. So we're not going to be doing like breaking news or any of that stuff. It's going to be much more usable content information, doing deep dive stories about life in Orlando. So I'm massively excited about it. It's kind of my passion project. And now I've got the team involved to make this a reality. So I'm very excited. So the Orlando Reel, REAL, like real estate, if you are interested. So let's check in a couple more people here. Greetings from Brazil. I appreciate you checking in. DCL, Delaware via Hunters Creek. Good to see you. Greenville, South Carolina. People from everywhere. I so appreciate it. Yeah, a survey. Yeah, that's what we were talking about. Kind of a survey. They call it a focus group. That's what it's called, a focus group. So we can take a couple hundred people and figure out what do you guys like, and I'll be asking you some questions. You guys will be able to respond and figure out kind of what we're seeing out there, right from the people that matter to me the most, which is you. Grumpy Rich, we watch all your Saturday live shows. The information is invaluable. Thanks for all you do. Yeah, I appreciate it. I say we because I'm very team oriented. Like so much of this isn't just about me. I've got this a massive amount of team members that help me put all this stuff together. And we spend a lot of time digging into permitting, digging into new articles, things that I think are going to be relevant, whether you live here or not, whether you're just a Disney fan or an Orlando fan, when you live here already, or you want to move here one day. So anyhow, I got my coffee set aside. Here we go. And so let's get into this on some more stories. I thought this was interesting. Just kind of going through what this day in history for Disney. In 1929, Walt Disney World puts out Mickey's Follies, and then here's another one I had no idea about, which was Nyoke rather. This was 1957. They came out with a live action thing where this boy had an elephant. And I started thinking about like how many things in Disney's history have been lost. Stuff that I've never heard about. Maybe you've heard about, some of these, but like going back, that's kind of what our theme park version on our website is going to be about, is some of the history behind the rides, the history behind the movies, things that might have been forgotten. And so that's some of the things that we're going to be getting into. Anyway, let's get into some news around Orlando. Number one would be, I'm going to make this even bigger. So the Orlando Business Journal broke a story around where Disney's probably going to go temporarily. At first, we've all been waiting for like, where's their new campus going to go for their 2,000 people they're bringing in from California. But what it sounds like is they're actually going to be building a building. It's only going to take them, get this, it's 280,000 square feet. And it's going to be able to house almost 2,000 people. And Tavistock is going to be the one actually building it in Lake Nona. It's only going to take a year to get built, which seems like, to build that big of a building, a year seems very quick, but they're starting it in September and they're talking about it's going to be finished by next November. And so the story goes that they're basically going to be building this building. I'll show you where it's at. Let's see. So here's the airport. So this is MCO. And then this big deal right here, this is 417. And then if you zoom in on Lake Nona, for those of you that know where Lake Nona is, you kind of zoom in, you got Nemours Children's Hospital, you got the VA, and right down Veterans Way is where they're going to be putting the building. So basically they're building the building there, and then Disney's buying land from Tavistock to build their own like legit campus beyond that. So it sounds like this is going to be a temporary measure to help people actually get here from California or jobs here locally for Disney. It'll be kind of a magnet for a lot of the area, having people come here, get to know what life is like living in Orlando. And then beyond that, they'll build their own campus somewhere else in Lake Nona. And then they'll repurpose that 280,000 square feet, either with more jobs for Disney or some other company. I know, like, again, I talked about it before, KPMG moved a massive call center there. They took down 120,000 square feet in Lake Nona just for their call center on top of their $400 million new facility that they purchased or built. So very interesting to see that. Let's see what you guys are saying here. Just moved to Winter Garden from New Jersey. Love the show. I so appreciate it. Good to see you, Marina. I appreciate it. Paige, this is actually Starbucks. This morning, I asked for them to put no ice, so I took one home. I haven't been able to perfect the home cold brew. I've tried a million times. It always tastes either watered down or too strong. I can't get it right. So I asked him to give me an extra one. And then I was able to just, throw some ice in it later on. It was great. Perfect. What's up, Candy? Pembroke Pines, soon to be Orlando. That's awesome. I'm sorry, Lisa. Good to see you. Stephanie from Atlanta. I do appreciate it big time. All right. So yeah, kind of interesting in regards to their project here in Lake Nona. Other things going on in Lake Nona. Here, let's check this out. Boop. Come on over here. So Disney, another article done by Orlando Business Journal. We were actually featured in this one, which I thought was cool. One of my team members, Bree Tucker, who does a lot of the stuff out in the villages, 55 and older communities. But Disney has now announced that they're going to be doing an age-restricted community. It's over 500 new homes in the Sunbridge area. So Sunbridge is just outside of Lake Nona. Right there, 27,000 square feet acreage in Sunbridge. They're building this master plan community. It's going to be a 55 and older community, kind of like comparative to like a Del Webb product, it sounds like. And it's going to be an interesting thing because I don't know of any Disney neighborhoods anywhere else in the country that cater only to 55 and older. And so they're going to be building this in Lake Nona. So you guys are kind of seeing a trend here, like Disney, Lake Nona, Tavistock. They're definitely doing a lot of stuff together. But I thought this was really interesting. So congrats to Bree on my team. She helped kind of break some of the story just around what people might like in regards to why this is important. There she is. But being this close to the airport, I think is going to be a huge one, because right now, like the Villages, which is the fastest growing community in the country, it's like 90 minutes from MCO. roughly hour to 90 minutes or so. And so to have this within 15 minutes of the airport, 20 minutes from Disney, I think this thing is going to go crazy. So celebration for the people that are over 55. So yeah. Art says I should try Wandering Bear iced coffee. Okay. Is that for like home kind of stuff? Charlie says Publix has Starbucks iced coffee. I have not tried it. So I'm going to get a couple of them. What's up, Nate Swan? Good to see you, my friend. Nate, you got a new puppy this week. Congratulations. My kids are bugging me for a puppy. Yeah, I definitely think so, Laura. I think an interesting project. I mean, here's the deal. Like, if Disney starts getting into the 55 and older community, I think they've got a huge market there. Obviously, the silver wave, we've been calling it, right? And so if they can tap into being able to have some of that magic and then not charge people golden oak prices or, more legit magic that, Celebration has and doesn't have, right? Depending on what you think about it. And then specifically catered to folks that are 55 and older. I think this is going to go just massively well for them, and to keep it close to their new campus, and a lot of cool stuff there. So I forgot to mention this who's actually building the new building for Disney's temporary campus. They chose Turner Construction, who they were the ones who built out the Four Seasons at Walt Disney World, and they also built out Amway Center. So they're massively invested in what's going on here. So I think that's kind of an interesting thing. All right, so let's talk something about that's not really that fun, but I think it's important to talk about. So one of the things I'm hearing a lot of from folks is like, hey, what's going on in Orlando? I hear COVID's going crazy in Florida, which is totally true. But then I started looking at new articles over the past just 2 days. So a couple days old, Advent Health reports that Central Florida COVID hospitalization rates are waning. They're starting to go down over 300 over the last several days. So that's good. I think that, if we're able to get past this Delta surge, it's very interesting. I find it really kind of interesting how Disney's really just still pushing forward. They're like, we're opening up new restaurants, or again, old restaurants that we're finally revitalizing or opening again, new hotels. I know they put the brakes on reopening. I think it's All-Star Sports. So that was the only thing I've heard that they pulled back on, but it's kind of interesting to see. I'm hoping that we are starting to see some better things in regards to COVID and that sort of thing happening here in Orlando. So we shall see. But I'm curious for you guys, drop down below. This isn't the question section just yet, but let me know, is COVID stopping you guys from coming to Orlando to either visit and or move? Is that something that you've heard about? Are you kind of like, you know what, I understand it's kind of everywhere at this point. Curious your guys' feedback. That's an interesting thing for me to hear. So what's going on, my friend? Massachusetts, good to see you, Michelle. I appreciate it. Wouldn't a 55 community that close to MC? Oh, then that's a good question. Really good question, Laura. So check this out. So if you look at, I'll open this up for you. Boom. All right. So here's the airport right here. Let's see. Is that big enough? Someone give me a yes or no. Hopefully you guys can see kind of what's going on here. All right, so you got the MCO right here. This is the flight path, kind of north and south, up and down here. And so if you're in the flight path or really quite close to it, sometimes over here in Laureate Park, you can hear those planes fairly well. It's not something that we can hide. But it's funny, Lake Nona Golf and Country Club, because it's over to the east, you can't hear planes at all. Zero. You can see them so clear as day, but you can't hear them at all. And so Sunbridge is actually right down here. So I think it's far enough away and east that people aren't going to be worried too much about sound. And so I would definitely agree. Some folks, 55 and older, you kind of want more quiet, chill kind of vibe. I think that whole area is going to be able to easily encapsulate that without some kind of craziness. What's going on? Dave from Toronto, Ontario. Good to see you. So I'm curious. So Lisa, you said Central Florida is the place to be as nurses. It's everywhere, but Florida is a critical hit. Yeah, agreed. All right, let's keep rolling through this. So one of the other things I had heard the other day as we were going through our Keller Williams mega camp is what they call it. Basically, they bring in all the top agents from across the country. We did it virtually this year because of COVID, but they were talking about affordability. And I thought that affordability was kind of an interesting thing because we talk about this a lot is housing getting too expensive here? And so affordability they talked about here, essentially home price growth has been 1.5 times income growth since 2016. And so that's kind of like, you saw this huge disparity. And so Gary Keller, our CEO and our chairman rather, he kind of started talking through like, it's interesting, the top 20% of income earners are not seeing as big of affordability issues, even though you're buying more expensive houses, because their income has started going up. And so what you really see is like the middle 25%, because the lower third, it seems like overall wages have gone up. You've got a lot of places here locally. They're starting people at $15 an hour almost everywhere you look here in Orlando. But the middle 25% are the ones that are getting kind of squeezed out. And so you're seeing like this sort of income disparity getting a little bit worse, and inflation's behind that as well. He talked about, actually I grabbed an inflation slide for you guys to take a look at as well. And again, I know some of this stuff's a little nerdy, but for those of you out there that care about it, I think this is interesting to look at. Inflation, we're trying to keep that in check somewhere around 2%. Right now, it's about 4.4%, which is quite high when you start thinking about affordability on just really everything in life. And so I think interest rates will eventually very soon have to kind of course correct and start going up, which is going to make you buying a house sooner than later probably pretty important. I think that we're going to start seeing these houses, instead of going straight up in price, we will start seeing it flatline. I've talked about that in weeks past. And so these numbers with inflation and kind of like the cost of living right now just sort of bear out what we've been saying is like, I'm not the real estate agent that's going to be like, hey, listen, times are always good. Times are good, times are bad, things go up and down. That's just the market. But being realistic on where we're at, you start seeing some of these inflation prices and that interest rates are coming. It is something that you need to think about from an affordability standpoint. All right, let's see. A bunch of questions coming in here. So yeah, we're gonna dive in, definitely answering a lot more of your questions here as we get going here. They'll probably be hard to find hearing, but so 55 and older, he's saying is going to be hard of hearing. So the planes won't be as big of a deal, I guess. So interesting thing. But here, let me wrap up the whole idea beyond the unemployment thing. So if you look at the Orlando area specifically, so this is the Orlando, Kissimmee, Sanford sort of, coming in from the economic research from the Fed. They're saying we're somewhere around 5.7% unemployment, and anything below 4% would be considered like full employment. So then I jumped on Indeed just out of curiosity to figure out like where, how many jobs are there right now. And as of this morning, just on Indeed, right? So this isn't like every job everywhere. There's 50,000 employee jobs opening here in Orlando alone. That's a lot of jobs. And that's a number that I'm going to start tracking more and more. Like, how many open jobs do we see? But because I don't know about you guys, the last time I went to like really anywhere, any shop, any restaurant, any office building, everywhere is hiring. And so, I'm just trying to figure this out. Honestly, I don't know if it's the unemployment funds that were coming in. I don't really know what it is, but I do think that Orlando is, for the better, seeing a better quality job. We're seeing wages rise. And I think that that's hopefully going to help us keep up in the real estate market, but it'll be something that we all should most definitely pay attention to. All right. So I got some questions for you guys. So here's your turn to like tune in, give me some insight here. So when you're looking for a new house, what's the most important thing to you? What's important to you guys in regards to what you're looking for? Is it bedrooms, baths, location, price? What's the most important thing to you? We're going to start sourcing these. I'm actually going to go back. So even if you're not watching this live, we're going to go back and source these from the comments. So make sure you drop your comments below if you're watching the replay. But for me, we're trying to figure out what's most important to you guys. Drop it down in the comments. Charlie says location. What's the most important thing? Laura says price is most important. Helen says location and floor plan. Okay. Nemo says location and outdoor space. Chris says, what's up, Chris? Good to see you. Design and layout. Yeah. Because if you you could choose anywhere, right? It comes down to design and layout. Bedrooms, location, west of location seems to be huge. And so when you're talking about location, are you thinking like, hey, because that's most important to your job? Is it because of the schools in that location? Is it close to things to do? Out of those three, what do you think? Getting a lot of things: quality of construction, price, big one, location close to Disney. Yeah, seems like location. Obviously, the old adage of real estate of like location still holds true. Here's another one for you. I've got 3 questions for you guys today, and we'll keep it simple. Would you rather new construction, brand new construction from the ground up, like, hey, and when I say brand new, I mean like either you're buying a resale that's 2 years or newer, or you're building brand new, or would you rather do remodeled? So when I say remodeled, that would typically mean that the neighborhood's probably built out, a little bit more mature trees, a little bit more mature landscaping in the area. You're not going to have the new construction around you, but something that was remodeled. Which one would you choose if you could do brand new or something nicely remodeled? Let's see what you guys have to say here. New construction. Chad says new construction. Charlie says new. Brand new home will become resale soon enough. True. Remodeled in a great location. That's kind of how I lean a little bit there. Brand new because of changing laws. You mean like for new construction, sort of like people, like codes and that sort of thing, roofing, windows, that sort of deal? Remodeled, old, and I remodel myself. A lot of remodels in here. Remodeled, brand new. Okay, so it's a decent mix. I was curious on that to figure out, because I'll tell you what, one of my number one questions are things that people say when they move to the areas, like, tell me about new construction. And it is 30% of the houses that we have here, but there's still so many beautiful old areas that have like a lot of charm. And so, all right, let's see. Last question for you. What would keep you from buying a home right now? If you said, hey, listen, is it just timing? Is it pricing? Is it down payment? What would it be? What would keep you from buying a house if you saw the right one? Like if you totally just fell in love with something, what would keep you from buying it right now? Pricing and timing, yep. Down payment, that's a big one for people, sure. Remodeling, good location, yeah. Bidding wars, raising the prices too much, sure. So do you think that that's just because, so you don't want to be any part of it? Hey, forget it. I don't want to have to do with other people that are like also bidding on the same house that I want. Is that something that would just keep you out of the market in general? A lot of people are saying price. A lot of people are saying price. Yeah, that's very interesting. Cool. That's helpful for me. I appreciate it big time. All right, let's get into one more quick story. And we're going to keep sourcing these, because what we're trying to do is figure out, I don't want to become like, some objection handling machine or whatever, but I'm trying to figure out, you guys as our viewers, and then ultimately many of you, our clients, what's most important to you? What are some things that are keeping you up at night in terms of, do I keep renting or do I buy, or do, I have a house to sell? I know it'll sell, but then where do I move? There's so many like things that are going through people's heads. And I know, because I'm in it every day. My team and I, we're just helping so many people. It's second nature to us, but I love hearing from you guys, your concerns, to figure out, okay, like, I'd love to make this move. I'd love to buy a second home. I'd love to, retire and relocate, but here's what's keeping me up at night about thinking about it. So I'm going to be asking you guys some more questions. I appreciate you guys digging in and giving me some great feedback. All right, one more question or one more story for you guys, and then we'll get into some questions and spend some time with you guys on answering your questions. So make sure you have them up. I thought was interesting. If you guys haven't seen Tron, this is probably the thing I'm most excited about at Walt Disney World right now. So Tron, this is kind of like the mock-up. This is, I think this is the Shanghai version of Tron. Light cycle coaster. Well, it was released earlier today that they're testing the coaster, which means it's getting closer. Every time I drive by it, it seems like they're adding more and more. And so I'm most excited about this thing. There's so many new rides and new attractions, things coming out. But this one, oh my gosh, I'm super excited. I'm like not the biggest coaster guy, but like that is going to be so cool. So are you guys, I'm curious, what are you guys most excited about that's coming to Orlando, whether that be a ride, a hotel? I mean, obviously like a new Star Wars hotel is opening up. That's crazy exciting. What are you guys most excited about coming to Orlando? Something that you want to visit when you're in town, or if you already live here, something that you've heard that you're excited to go visit. I am kind of curious down in the comments below. Yeah, dude, for sure. Super stoked to ride this ride. It's gonna be so good. All right, awesome. Epic Universe. Yeah. So don't forget about Universal. This isn't just a Disney show. This is theme parks in general. So Epic Universe is going to be cool. I hope Nintendo Land comes together. I've been talking to some different team members that are working on that project. It seems like some cool stuff going on over there for sure. Olympus. Yeah. Over in Claremont. I think that's going to be super cool. Plenty of opportunity for outdoor space and training and all that good stuff. That's going to be very cool. A Target in Lake Nona. I haven't heard about that actually, so I don't know that that's true. It's funny. I talked to some of those guys that work for Tavistock, and I'm like, you guys know that like the number two things, it's like bring us a Whole Foods or a Trader Joe's, bring us a Target, and you'll make us the most happy residents in the world. So I think a lot of it has to be just timing, and then so many of these. It sounds like a lot of their studies for the area, they look over the past like 10 years for population and income. And if you look at Lake Nona, I think it could easily support a Target and a Trader Joe's and or Whole Foods. But when you look back what was going on 8 years ago, like Lake Nona didn't exist. And so I think their thing, what they need to focus in on is like explaining to them what's going on and the growth that's in the area. You have everything from like north of Lake Nona down Hunters Creek. Like people would easily like flock into that area and support something like that. So if you are in that area, I think making sure that you're reaching out to like customer support and letting them know that you would love something in the area, I think might help your cause a little bit. Ratatouille. I'm excited about that too. I don't remember when we're going on that. We got our annual pass for that. Let's see. I don't know, like September 16th or something like that. I'm excited though. That's going to be fun. Annual pass. Those are like the little perks that I love. I heard somebody say the other day that annual passes are coming back later this year, but I'm not to confirm. Any of you Disney people that want to let me know. What are you most excited about in Orlando? The end of I-4 construction, my man or my lady. Yeah, I agree. So once that I-4 is finished and you've got that ultimate I-4 in the middle, which for those of you that don't know, I-4 is kind of like our nightmare of a freeway up and down Orlando. There's lots of like easy turnpikes to get around Orlando, but if you have to get stuck on I-4, that's the worst. So they're building a toll road in the middle of I-4. So if you want to sort of skip the traffic and you want to pay your dollar or whatever it ends up being, you can skip the traffic. And once the construction's gone and you're able to use that, game over. I'll be able to expand all over Orlando without having to sit in traffic for an hour. All right. All right, I'm going to try to scroll back. If I missed one of your questions, feel free to put it back in the second time. We did have a ton of engagement, so thank you for that. When we were going through what's important to you guys when you're buying a house. So here we go. Laura has a question. Are gated communities considered beneficial for international buyers who won't be living on property all year round? That's a good question. I think if you're buying in a safer area, I mean, gated for the most part in Orlando is more of a prestige thing than a safety thing. There are some areas where the gated is for safety, but for the great majority of it, it's kind of like keeps tourists out or keeps anybody else out. But it's like more of a status thing. It's something you end up paying for. Do you need it for safety? Probably not. Would it be peace of mind for you? Sure. I mean, but you could also get a security system and put a Nest camera in the front and back and kind of know what's going on at your property. So I don't know. I think that for the most part, gated communities, it's more for aesthetics than anything else. Someone else had a really great question up top. I'm going to scroll way up top. All the questions disappeared. Oh, that's not good. That's not good. you want a home and for $300,000 you pay cash for a pool home near Kissimmee. That's going to be tougher nowadays. A pool home, anyways. Pool home. Make sure you guys. Sorry about that. It dropped back. A lot of the questions from earlier are gone. Let's see. Yeah, here's one for Linda. So same person actually. So I heard resale homes are going for over asking. New construction. This is when we're talking about new or resale. This is just kind of a good thing to point out. Both of them are going over asking. So I had a new construction buyer I was helping just a couple weeks ago. We did multiple offers. There were 4 lots that were available, and the builder said, "Hey, we're going to have these 20 people bid on the lots, and based on what you choose for your layout, for what kind of structural items you promise that you want to put in, plus however much over your lot premium you're willing to pay, we're going to go with that person. So here's these 20, 30 people that I'll bid on 4 lots. My people ended up getting it, but it's like, usually the lot premium's 35, 40 grand. You end up having to pay 50 or 60. So that's how a lot of these builders are doing it. Other ones are basically finishing out the house, getting 45 days before closing. And they're saying, hey, listen, you 40 buyers, we have these 2 houses, bid on it. Starting price is 500,000. It closes in 48 hours. And so, yeah, it's new construction and resale are both seeing multiple offers. There's a lot of good comments around like just pricing and inflation and that sort of thing. It's really good. So Charlie, Laureate Park 2 in Laurel Point. It sounds like Laurel Point's going to be opening up like October, November. So that's like the gated community by Toll Brothers down in Lake Nona. Laureate Park 2, I've still heard conflicting stuff from different builders. Some people are telling me that's not going to be till later this year. Others are telling me that early next year. I've had a couple people tell me in the next couple of weeks. So I don't think they've got their stuff together. I just check in every single week. And as soon as they tell me that we're ready to go, you guys will know about it. But I know Summerdale is selling right now. So Summerdale is right over there. Right outside of Lake Nona, they consider it Lake Nona still. So if you're looking for their Dream Finders is building over there, and they do have lots available, and they are selling right now. So I think that's great. Yeah, there's totally a Portillo's in Orlando. You live in suburban Chicago. Yeah, there's one that just opened up in O-Town West. So that's like Dr. Phillips. If you look at I-4 and Darrell Carter Parkway, right there where O-Town West is going in, there's a Portillo's, there's a White Castle's. They're bringing in all these different concepts from around the country that don't exist in Orlando yet, and they're going to put them all in one place. It's cool. I'm going to go back up here. Oh, so someone says when I asked about APs coming back, so annual passes confirmed. Disney said that they'll be on sale by the 50th, which starts on October 1st. Cool. Confirms October 1st. Awesome. Disney announced they'll be back. Awesome. I love it. So James asks, what are the odds of a new Laureate Park homes in September still being at 450? I don't think, unless you're talking about a townhome under 450, I think that the majority, that's all that's left in the main Laureate Park are townhomes. Laureate Park 2 will probably start in the 450s and then go up to $1 million from there. I have been to Portillo's personally, though. Amazing. You hear so much hype about stuff. People from Chicago are like, oh my God, you have to try it. It's the most amazing thing ever. And then you go and you're like, I hope it's going to be good. I don't know. But yeah, I was pleasantly surprised. Gustavo, you were the one of the questions that I was asking for. So thanks so much, man, for reposting this back here. So any new construction, 3.2 or 4.2, 400,000, either Winter Garden or Lake Nona, man, it's only going to be townhomes at this point in that 400 range. If you're looking for new construction, single family, you're going to have to kind of push out. So in Lake Nona, you could push out. I'm trying to think the best place to go for you. It would be like St. Cloud or Meridian Parks, maybe a little bit farther out. And the Winter Garden side, you're going to be pushing out to like Groveland, Mineola, and Claremont is even tough to get 400,000 for new construction nowadays. RJ, I'm glad you said this because we're actually going to do a video about Apopka and just sort of like the emerging areas that are like, I think, on the cusp of something that if you can hang on, that you can get a lot of house for your money. Apopka is one of them. We don't sell a ton There's one agent that just joined my team. She lives there and she knows a ton about it. If you want somebody with like very specific Apopka knowledge, I can definitely connect you with her. But yeah, I think that Apopka is going to be one of those areas that experience a lot of growth because there's still a lot of land left and proximity is great. So I think it's going to be like an up and coming sort of thing. Yeah, apparently, truth be told, I got 3 people above me told me that by AP will start being sold again in October. Yeah, I mean, do I think interest rates are going to creep up? I do. Inflation's getting scary. Yeah, 4.4% is not healthy. It's not the 70s where things were going up 15%, but I don't know, double what should be. Liz asks, do I think that bidding wars have gone down or increased? I would say that the number of overall offers that we're getting on our houses have gone down over the past month or so. Instead of getting 14 offers, we're getting 8. But it is kind of that time of year as well. We typically have a little bit of a slowdown in September, October, picks up again for November, December, and then we're right off to the races again next year. So because you think about people going back to school, not as many buyers. People up north, they're not buying second homes here because they're getting ready to send their kids back to school. Just kind of our typical thing. But yeah, we're still seeing massive amount of offers in general. Things are still selling for over asking. I kind of pulled the stats the other day. Average like listings to sales, days on market, all of that stuff is just the same as it was 2 months ago. So no real change there. This is a great question, truth be told. So how do people do walkthroughs when you're out of state? That's a big concern. We can't continue to fly back and forth. So how do you end up getting the best look? So here's our process. And those of you that have heard this before, bear with him. We're good. So basically, my encouragement to you is that you come to the area, get to know the neighborhoods and the areas that you really like. So if you really love Horizon West or Lake Nona or Celebration or Lake Mary or wherever it is in Orlando, drive through the neighborhoods, get to know the shops and the retail and just kind of your day-to-day life. Get to know the area first. Then see the houses that are for sale that you can afford while you're here. If none of them wow you and that you're just not ready to write an offer, then somebody on my team and I, we can do a virtual tour. So we'll shoot a video for you, do the full walkthrough. We open every door, drawer, let you know if it smells, let you know anything we can see that might be damaged, the good and the bad and the ugly. And then we'll send you that video like via a private link so that you can rewatch it. And it's like, 10 to 15 minutes long. We have had massive success doing that for people because that way you can get a house, write an offer without seeing it and feel comfortable. Then you have that 5 to 7 day period to like do an inspection and go figure out like, is this something that you're going to want to actually to move forward with and fly down during the inspection. Now, some sellers will ask like, hey, have they even seen the house yet before when you write an offer? And we have to be truthful at that point. But I mean, you have an opportunity to back out during the home inspection if you don't love it when you see it in person. But I'll tell you what, my team and I, we sell between 20 and 30 homes every single month. And I would say half the buyers right now are not seeing them in person. And so, yeah, good opportunity for you. Hopefully that's helpful. Ken, I'm using StreamYard. I keep StreamYard website open and the YouTube site so I can see that. Oh, great question or great comment. I'll definitely do that. The problem with that for me was like the lag and messing up. So that's why I didn't do it. But yeah, very good question or very good comment about using StreamYard. Melissa asks, how big of a concern are sinkholes, especially towards West Davenport, Haines City, Lakeland? I mean, so there's sinkholes in Orlando. That's just part of like living in Florida. There's like sinkhole inspections you can get. Some insurance companies require it now, but for the most part, it's not something we see on a daily or even monthly basis. So if it's something that's concerning to you, you can always get that extra add-on to figure out, how are things settling on your property. But for the most part, it's just not something like. It's not something we're constantly looking out for, like, when's the sinkhole going to happen? But I know when you read blogs and you look online, because they do happen. It's not like it's never happened. Sales of Island Village, I think are going okay. I mean, things are slowing down, it would seem. I always know that things are a little bit slower when the marketing team starts emailing you every week about coming to see their new stuff. It always seems like, if things are rolling quickly, then they're probably not going to do that. So my hope is, I've had a lot of clients that have held off because of sort of them not wanting to work with agents, and or they didn't like the inventory that was out there, so they've held off to see like what else comes up. So we'll see if they get their stuff together. But for the most part, it seems like things are going fine. Now, this definitely isn't not out of the scope. So might be out of the scope, but are there any plans to improve mass transit options within the Orlando area? So like they've got the Sunrail coming up and through Miami, up and down through to kind of get you in and out of Orlando. But from like a day-to-day perspective, they're really just investing in the roads more than anything. So expanding 417, they're expanding 429, they're adding more inroads in and out of different areas. You see a lot of connector roads going in left and right. As I'm going through like permitting for the different construction stuff, that's where I see the majority of our infrastructure dollars being spent are on roads. And so from that perspective, that seems to be where they're focused, not really like more bus or anything like that. Mass transit. Go check. Let me know what you think, Diego. Appreciate it, man. Yeah. So interesting thing. I just drove up through Ovation, which is on the road that kind of connects Claremont to the Disney Road extension. And they had bulldozers everywhere digging out the sides of the roads and expanding it. So my guess is that expansion will happen first, because it's only like a very small piece of road. It's like not even a half a mile that they need to expand. And then once they expand it, then I guess that they would connect it. So the fact that they're expanding it right now means that I would think that in the next year that gets connected. That would make a lot of sense to me. That's a good question, Linda. So is Zillow reliable for showing accurate prices? I don't think so. For the most part, it's a computer telling you what's going on in the market. Is it a good starting place? For sure. Like it's a good ballpark, but they're not an appraiser, and they've never been to the house to know, is the house updated or not? Does it back to a main road or not? Does it have a wide lot or small lot? There's so many things and factors that make up value of a home. And so I always tell people, like, Zillow is a great place to start. It's a great place to be a voyeur of what's going on with real estate. But then when you want to get serious, you connect to an agent that kind of knows what's going on in the community that you're excited about. And then we go from there. All right. So repeating David's question, if I was to purchase a house in an area where short-term rentals were not allowed, would I still be allowed to let relatives and friends use the house for free? Yeah, of course. Nothing that's going to stop them from doing that. It's just you can't list it on Airbnb, VRBO. If they catch you doing that, then not going to be good. But if you're letting them use it for free and you're not advertising it as a short-term rental, then you're good. Appreciate it, Dave. Good to see you from Virginia. Mike, I think Oviedo's fantastic. I mean, for me, it seems far, but because that's how I live close. I live so close to Disney. But if you live in Lake Nona, is much closer to the airport and Disney and some other things. And so when I get a lot of calls, to me, Oviedo seems far. But if you want to be close to UCF, which is a beautiful area, Oviedo, Waterford Lakes, all of those things, you can get a lot of house for your money. The school districts are fairly well rated. Oviedo is awesome. We're actually going to be shooting some content up there because I think I've gotten enough calls about it that I'm like, okay, I need to think about talking about it a little bit more. But again, to me, it seems far. But the trade-off in pricing, worth it for sure. For sure. I mean, you're only 25 minutes from downtown Orlando. So if you're in the healthcare industry or, some of the tech stuff that's coming in downtown, it's a really good opportunity. If you can't maybe afford either don't want the downtown Orlando living, can't afford Winter Park, Baldwin Park, but you want good schools and stuff like that, Oviedo is a good option for you. My thoughts on Brightline are that, if it happens, amazing. I think that they're having last time I checked, this was a month ago, they were having eminent domain issues by, taking up people's backyards, and they're trying to run the line up the 417 and over, and people were objecting to it. So I think they're going to have a lot of things, but ultimately I think it'll happen. And when it happens, that's going to be fantastic for just commuting back and forth to Tampa and Miami and sort of the whole loop that they've got planned. I think it's fantastic. Chad asks, do I believe that the resale market is a better option than waiting for new construction, specifically for larger lots, lake view, screen pools, sub $1 million pricing? Yeah, there's really not a lot of Specifically larger lots, lake views, green pools. I mean, it just depends where you're at. Like lake views under $1 million are like nearly impossible nowadays. Yeah. I can't think of anywhere like that has an amazing lake view that's also under $1 million. And so like that was like a year ago. It was the last time you could have done that. But you're typically going to get a better deal in that budget range, like the 900 to 1.5. You'll get a better deal on resale than you will new construction. Yeah. Yeah. So there's actually quite a few. So Horizon West, Avalon Road, and north of Independence Parkway. No, I mean that's pretty much kind of built out. The majority of north of Independence Parkway is going to be all commercial. So for those of you not sure what she's talking about, Miss Helen, good to see you, by the way. You're so kind, always chiming in on stuff, makes my day. Let's see, 429 Signature Lakes, West Orange Country Club. It's Tilden. Nope, too far. Why am I lost right now? Yeah, that's it right there. There we go. It looks smaller on the map. So if you look at like, just for proximity's sake, so here's Horizon West right here, and you've got Disneyland, or Disney World rather, right here, Magic Kingdom. So a lot of folks that are either working at Disney, want to be close to Disney, any of that stuff, they live up and down this 429 corridor. And so in this Horizon West area, Horizon West is just an area of Winter Garden. So she's asking, are there going to be more developments north of this road right here, which is New Independence Parkway? It's mostly, if you look here, it's mostly commercial or built out. I know there is a new neighborhood off Tilden Road going in. It's a gated community by MI Homes. It's like a very small 100-home community, but for the most part, there's no like big swaths of land going on anymore, or it's already built out. And then beyond that, it gets into, Old Winter Garden and Lake Apopka. So not much going on out there. And then to the west of us, all of this is wide open, but this is going to be Claremont. So I feel like kind of Rain Man with real estate sometimes. But anyways, bad joke. Let's see. Hi from New Orleans. Waiting on a hurricane. Hopefully you guys stay safe. I just talked to somebody from Louisiana this morning, actually. Dreaming of moving to Florida. What do I think of? Do you think that Disney will sell or develop the land they own behind Rockwell side of Winding Bay? I know exactly what you're talking about, actually. I don't think so. I mean, if you look at where it's at, I think it's just such an easy extension to Flamingo Crossing eventually. I don't know if it's actual conservation or not, but if, for those of you asking, this is also in Horizon West. This is Western Way down here, and then it kind of like Reedy Creek, Western Way. So like all of this land is like, so much of this is conservation over here. And so I don't think that they're going to end up selling off that land. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I think that they're going to just continue on. So that would be my thoughts. Oops, I didn't even show you guys, darn it. Western Way, kind of in this area. All this is owned by Disney. Flamingo Crossing, they've got the new cast member housing. They've got all this other kind of stuff over here. I just don't think that they're going to end up selling it. Wouldn't make sense. They're actually purchasing more land in that area than they are selling it. So what's going on, Jeff? Thank you so much. Congrats on the 100 million. Yeah, we are just like beyond. My team and I, we sold $100 million of real estate year to date, which is we're super grateful because it represents hundreds of families that we've been able to serve from all over the world. And so the big milestone for us. So thank you for that, man. What's going on from Santa Clara? My team email chat is info@pozekgroup.com, POZEK, and we will get right back to you. Hey, Gustavo. So if you want to email us, I can send you a list of like some of the better school districts, not from me, but kind of like from the state level. There's a lot of other websites that rank them. You just have to be careful when you're looking at rankings online, like what makes something an A school versus a B school. I had a really good teacher friend of mine tell me the other day, and this made a lot of sense. He's like, it's interesting because what makes A schools are because they had like upward trajectory of like test scores and some things like that. But once you hit the top, there's nowhere else to go per se, right? And so some of them fall back down to B schools. Some of these websites rank parent rankings that along with the states and what makes them an A school or not. And so to me, that's kind of interesting because like I know a lot of parents that complain way more than I know a lot of parents that say good things online, like just like how reviews are in general. So if you want like the state data, I've got websites for you. Just shoot me an email, info@pozekgroup.com, and I'll get back to you with that. So they're building out. So they announced their 5 builders in the Sunbridge community about a month ago, and my guess, honestly, is that we're going to see something in the next 2 or 3 months from those folks on like the ballpark pricing and some of the initial layouts. So that's something that's in short. I'll probably do a whole video on Sunbridge because that thing is going to be holy moly. They said they got enough houses to build in Sunbridge for the next 30 years. So by the time I'm finally ready to retire, they might have sold the last one. So that'll be interesting. Laura said the Altamont Springs and Castleberry area. I've got friends that live up there. They love it. You know, the whole Winter Springs area. There's some really good elementary schools over there. Again, it's kind of tucked up in a way. So like getting up there through some of the traffic can be kind of cumbersome. But if you live up there, work up there, I think there's great areas there. So Nate, my man Nate asks, if you were older, extended family member who wanted to be close to the grandkids and yet still have your own space, couple acres or more, where would you be targeting your search? I would probably be looking at like Groveland, Mineola, like farther West County, or West Lake County, knowing where you live, because then they could still be 30 minutes away from you and not too bad. But if they want something like affordable with some acreage, they're going to have to make a little bit of a drive. So that would be my suggestion to you guys, a little bit farther out there. Let me know, man. Hit me up anytime. I'll give you some suggestions. That's a good question from Brian. So hold on, I'm going to grab a little drink of coffee here. Stand by. Just talk amongst one another. Hold on. All right. What is one thing you wish you factored in when you originally moved to Orlando? So for those of you who don't know, we moved here 5 years ago. I've always been in real estate since I graduated high school. So I've been doing this since 2003. Holy moly. Yeah, a long time. And, starting over, I just didn't factor in the fact we didn't know anyone here really well enough. But the cool thing I love about Orlando is it's such a welcoming community because nobody's really from Orlando. And so everybody's been in your spot before. So I don't know that I really factored in the fact that we wouldn't have many family or friends kind of as a support network when we first moved here. But it's been pretty easy for us to get to know locals. And I think because of that, makes me love Orlando even more. So yeah, that would be my number one. Chad says, can I show where the temporary Disney office is going to go? Sure. Right on Veterans Way. Veterans Way. It's actually, the address is 13410 Veterans Way. And if you look at where the, here we go. Boom. If we look at where the Veterans Hospital is in Lake Nona right here, they're saying it's going to be right on this corner, right at the end of Veterans Way. So you got town center. This is going to be just this massive 4 million square feet of office, retail, just everything. This is basically the Lake Nona town center. And all of this that's where the Wave Hotel is going in. That opens up in October. A lot of cool stuff going in that area. Danny asks, what are some areas of first-time homebuyers up to an hour from Orlando? I mean, Orlando is so huge and spread out. I guess I would love to know what's important to you in terms of stuff to do. What's important about being an hour away, because an hour away could be all the way down to Lakeland. It could be all the way out to Mount Dora, past Mount Dora. I kind of love Mount Dora. It's such a cute downtown area, beautiful, emerging area for sure. There's a lot of just amazing areas. So I know I put out a video this week around, what does $500,000 get you in the core areas that people are really excited about? It doesn't get you much anymore, but there's so many affordable, fantastic areas, and it's raining here now, in Orlando that don't get discouraged. If you want to move here, there's going to be something for you guys. So truth be told, says I checked the recently sold listings on Zillow. Are those pretty accurate? I know you mentioned Zillow wasn't super accurate, but what about those? Yeah, most of the sold ones are. Just keep in mind that the majority of new construction doesn't get recorded on Zillow until after it gets recorded at the county level. And then even at that point, it might not be massively accurate, but Zillow takes what's on the MLS and then you hope that it's accurately recorded. Yeah, so hopefully that answers your question. New construction being that it's 30% of the sales here gets to be a little tough. And then also keep in mind that like if you look at a new construction community and it shows a recently sold new construction, a lot of times it's a realtor or a homeowner inputting their own data into Zillow. And you got to remember, most of these new construction people signed it on the dotted line for their home a year ago and then are finally getting to move in. So if you see something that like recently sold for $400,000, but everything in the neighborhood is listed for $500,000. Well, that's just because the market has gone up since then. Don't think that just because it closed recently that they didn't lock the price in a year ago. Hopefully that makes sense. The traffic around Summer Lake and Seidel. I've seen a gorgeous property, but it backs right onto it. So I wonder about the noise. So Summer Lake will eventually get busier and busier. I don't live too far from this area, and but the roads are like 35 miles an hour max. So it's not like you've got 60 mile an hour like people cruising down. Like if you were back to 535 or like a Popka Vineland Road or something like very busy, that would be a tough for resale. But I don't think backing to like Seidel is as big of a deal. You definitely are going to see cars, but it's not like you've got massive semi trucks whizzing by your house. So I appreciate that, man. My backyard science. We'd love to help when the time comes, for sure. Yeah, there we go. So Melissa just kind of reiterated what I had already said. So she said her house isn't even on Zillow yet. She went under contract in July of 2019. Holy moly. And you still haven't closed. Oh, closed May of 2020. Yeah, exactly. So there you go. You know, if you have something that you signed on the dotted line in July of 2019 and you closed in May, well, prices have already gone up 10% since then. And then if they haven't, it doesn't actually post until say September, October. I have this call a lot actually, which is, I'm glad somebody mentioned it today. It was just like, you know, hey, I saw this house sold for $425. Why are you guys asking $550? Well, because that was pricing from 18 months ago. Well, it said it just sold. I know. It's confusing. It is confusing, especially as prices are going up the way that they are. Dave says, I can't believe I used to be heavy. Congratulations on losing the weight. I appreciate it. For those of you that don't follow me on Instagram, I posted recently basically a past 5 years update. And so, yeah, I lost about 50 pounds over the past 5 years and most recently locally. But yeah. Chris, my friend, it is still right here. We went 4 times this hour. My wife has the Nintendo. She got the Nintendo one and she opened the first bag. And I was like, oh, I'm going to start too. I opened the box. I opened it. And then I started pulling them out. And I'm like, oh gosh, I need to like actually spend some time on slowing down. Oh, I've got a kind of another little segment I'm going to wrap up today with. So I don't know if you guys are into like merch or like, you know, some of the stuff that I've got in my office. I know many of you found me for my office tour that I originally did. I collect like Disney props, movie props, like this gun right here is from the first Pirates of the Caribbean movie. It was a prop used in the movie. That right there is Harry Potter, an actual thing from the movies. A lot of this stuff was actually from the movies or from the parks. So anyways, I thought I'd do a little segment every once in a while because I'm always constantly buying and collecting and doing crazy stuff. So one of the old Imagineers, he suggested this book. I thought this was amazing. So Before, Ever, After. It's Lost Lectures by Walt Disney Animation Studios. So it kind of goes through like when Walt decided to take all of his Imagineers to figure out how to do, you know, better animation. And then they eventually built their own studio and their own school behind it. And so it goes through like different lectures on how to buy, like, so anyways, this originally was like $35 and I had to track it down. I ended up paying like $80 for it on eBay, but some like super amazing stuff. I'm sure you can go online and figure out, but it goes through like, here's what we were thinking when we tried to do animation based on stuff. It was so interesting. Like one of my most favorite finds recently. It's called Before, Ever, After. It's something you're interested in. Anyways, a lot of cool merch out there. A lot of 50th anniversary stuff. Big pin collector. all types of cool merch. You guys you Imagineers, you merchandising people at Disney, you guys know what's up. You guys know your target market. And I think the merchandise is getting just better and better, which is really cool. All right. Well, we are coming up at 2:00, so I appreciate you guys hanging out with me on a Saturday. As always, it means the world to me that so many of you guys would take some time out of your busy weekend to hear about Orlando and stuff that I'm passionate about, which is real estate, theme parks, and all that good stuff. Again, if you haven't already checked it out or signed up, it would mean the world to me if you're interested in this stuff. TheOrlandoReal.com. Sign up. It's free. We're not going to spam the crap out of you. It's literally just like this exact stuff that you listen to, but even more in depth in a newsletter once a week. So I hope you guys enjoy that. But anyways, whatever you're doing this weekend, I hope it's amazing. We'll see you guys in a couple weeks. Talk to you soon.